everybody, it's Katie, and today marks the 1 year anniversary that I started the Sinclair Method for my alcohol addiction. I'm really excited about that, and as I sit in this space, I realize this year has gone by really fast, and time just goes by fast in general. I was actually just by coincidence looking at some old photos today, and I looked at some photos of me like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, when I was definitely full on in my alcohol addiction. And I was like, whoa. I was kind of shocked because the photos, my face is so round and chubby. My skin is super white and like broken out and doesn't look good. I have big bags under my eyes. And I look at that and I'm really sad for what I see in the photo. And I know how much suffering I was experiencing at the time, even though I was in denial about it and it was just a part of me and something I was so used to doing. I'm just really in a lot of gratitude for how far I've come since this past year, thanks to the Sinclair Method. Just kind of wanted to talk about day in the life 1 year ago before I started the Sinclair Method and what my life is like now, and just what the progression has been like for me this past year with the Sinclair Method. 1 year ago, or before that, when I was still drinking really heavily, I was drinking pretty much every single day, and I would go to work, and after work I would almost immediately come home and have wine or some sort of liquor. I would always be stopping at the store to have a bottle of wine, and it would be easy for me to drink a bottle of wine a night or several cocktails in a night. And that was pretty much my norm, close to 7 days a week. I would do my best to take a day or two off a week, but it was always this restraining, me forcing it, me white knuckling it. Even if I was hungover, like by the time nighttime came around, I would want to drink again. And it was just this internal battle and turmoil where I knew I didn't want to drink. Like my higher self knew that alcohol was bad for me, knew that it was an obstacle, knew that it was causing problems in my life, for my health, for my progress, for my development. But the addiction was so strong and overpowering that was totally in the driver's seat. So, I'd wake up hungover and still go to work at least 1 day a week, at least. And then commit to not drinking that night. And then by the time 5 o'clock would roll around, I would want to have alcohol. So I was drinking a lot, and really just operating in this like fog. For example, the job that I had, which I no longer have, it was a very easy job for me. I knew that I could do it in my sleep almost. I wasn't very challenged. I wasn't held up to a lot of responsibility. And I knew that I could do more. I knew that I could contribute more. And a part of me really wanted to, but a part of me also felt like I was able to kind of cop out because it allowed me to keep perpetuating my drinking. I didn't really have to show up too much at work. I was spending a lot of money on alcohol too. So I don't even know how much. I haven't tracked it, but if you can estimate at least a bottle of wine a day, plus going out to drink, like maybe $500 to $1,000 a month on alcohol, I would say. And I definitely have noticed that this past year, cutting down my alcohol, because I noticed that I just would have like a little extra money each month because I wasn't buying a bottle of wine every day at the store. That definitely adds up. I was really unhealthy, kind of operating in this fog, but something I was really used to as well. It was kind of comforting for me. And I feel like it's part of human nature. Like when you get stuck in a rut, no matter how destructive it is to yourself, it's comforting because it's what you know and it's hard to get out of. And when I was in that, I've talked in my other videos, I tend to be a pretty health conscious person. I like to eat well, I like to exercise and take care of myself. So this was like just kind of canceling all that out, my alcohol addiction. I would still go to the gym a few days a week, try to eat really healthfully and clean, but then inevitably there'd be at least a couple days during the week where I would eat just total junk food to try to nurse a hangover. And I'd feel, not only would I get a hangover, but then I would eat like crap for a full day. And then a hangover would usually last me about 2 days because it would just like linger. And then plus if I'm eating junk food, that would last with me another day. And so one drinking session, it would take me like 2 to 3 days to really recover from. And usually I was still drinking because I could still drink. And so I was just basically constantly feeling like crap. And then when I would get the epiphany, like I need to drink less, I need to not drink, it would be this like really like restraint, like, okay, I'm going to do it this time. And the cycle would just continue again, whether I would take a couple days off drinking or not. It was just this like turmoil that truthfully I didn't even realize I was in until now that I'm removed from it. And I keep, the longer time goes on this past year, I keep realizing like, holy cow, I was really operating in this like conflicted state internally, and really just controlled by the alcohol addiction. I was really in denial about that at the time. I knew that I was drinking a lot. I knew that. But it was in the driver's seat, and I really like felt like I needed it. Needed it to be in social situations, needed it to not be bored, because I felt like sobriety was so boring back then. When I was sober, I was craving alcohol. So whenever I was sober, I just felt miserable unless I had alcohol, or I felt just annoyed, and, you know, all these negative emotions. I couldn't just be. The only time I could really just be is when like I would overdo it with alcohol and commit to quit drinking, and I'd have a couple days of like a honeymoon period where I'd be like, yes, I'm going to do it. I love health, all these things. But then it would come back in, and I would just be like in this internal conflict again. So that was a year or more ago. For the past decade or so, that went on my life like that. And then I find the Sinclair Method, and it has, as if you've been watching my videos, it's just absolutely changed my life and given me the biggest gift that I've ever received in my life by taking this alcohol addiction out of my system, because that was running the show for everything. It was keeping me small, keeping me unhealthy, keeping me in a dull fog, not really allowing me to be present and connected in my environment. When I started the Sinclair Method a year ago, my doctor told me to just listen to my cravings and drink, and know that with every drinking session, you're erasing the addiction. And so that's what I did. I did not white knuckle anything. I didn't restrain. I tried my best not to judge cravings. And first couple of months, I was just drinking still nearly every day. I would have alcohol-free days. I had alcohol-free days in there, but I was still mostly drinking every day. But then what happened over time is I started to incorporate in some mindfulness after I was kind of getting the initial just intense cravings under control. As those started to dissipate, I was able to start really with some self-inquiry about what is driving these cravings, what's the trigger, why did I get a craving when I walked by that bar, why when I'm happy, sad, whatever, like what is driving me to drink. And I wouldn't always have the answer. I would ask, and sometimes I wouldn't care and I just want to drink anyway. And the biggest thing was for me to be kind to myself and just listen to the cravings. I was 100% compliant with the Sinclair Method, meaning I took the medication 1 hour before I drank every single time that I drank. By doing that, by really being kind to myself, by listening to the cravings, by drinking on the Sinclair Method, over time, the addiction was erased from my system. And it took really like no white knuckling it, no major willpower on my part other than to comply with the method and start to incorporate some mindfulness into it. So over this past year, it's just been a progressive experience of me drinking less and less and less over time. And of course, there were weeks where it would spike up and I would drink more, and other weeks where it would go back down. And I think most people get scared when that happens. I did too. I was like, this isn't working. Last week I drank 3 days. This week I'm drinking 6. Like, what's going on? But from what I can tell, talking to everybody that I do, it's really just part of it, part of the extinction process, because there are so many things driving us to drink. Our environment, our internal conflict, our childhood, our past, our work, all of these things are driving us to drink. And so over time, what you do is you start to identify the various triggers and really go within and see if it's true that you really do want to drink. Is this a real craving? Or is it just a habit that you're in, or a trigger, or is there something else you could do to really nourish yourself? And I know for me, I wanted to just check out. Like on the weekends, if I had a stressful week at work, I would just want to drink to check out. Or if I wanted to just, not do anything, I always turned to alcohol because it would just totally numb me. And so I started to notice that several months in, like a Saturday would be happening and I'd be like kind of wanting to drink. But then the more I would inquire, it's like, actually, no, I don't want to drink. I just want to have a relaxing day at home, maybe watch some movies, maybe cook some yummy meals. And I transitioned to that. And that was what was more nourishing for me rather than just consuming a bunch of alcohol and numbing out. It's really getting in that dialogue with yourself and seeing what it is that you need in the moment. So over this year, it's my drinking has decreased steadily, and now it's been a year, and I drink maybe once a month, if that. And lately, I have been really looking at that, like, do I want to continue drinking? I'm still planning to for now, but I'm what's really happening now 1 year in is with all of these cravings removed from my system and the addiction removed from my system, it's given me the energy and the desire to really embark on a deeper healing and health journey. And so with that, just taking better care of myself, being more gentle with myself, looking at the foods I'm eating, incorporating in some cleanses and some really old time practices like liver flushes and coffee enemas, especially after abusing myself for so long. Those toxins and things are still in our system, and so I'm really just I'm being guided to do this truthfully, and I've done this kind of thing in the past over the past 10 years with my health journey, but before I felt like it was really a willpower. I was really kind of forcing these things, but at this time I'm just feeling really guided and kind of called to do it. So what's been happening lately when I drink is I just really don't enjoy the experience of being intoxicated. I much prefer sobriety, especially now that the alcohol cravings are removed. Sobriety is like my ideal place to be. I really love it. So when I drink, it's like I just enjoy it less and less. So I'm watching that. I'm going to see kind of how I feel. And today it's been like 3 weeks or something since I had my last drink. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've also been incorporating in a lot of, meditation and just time in silence. Really just having this introspective journey of healing, because I feel like for the past 10 years that I was addicted to alcohol, it was just all about the alcohol. That was driving everything. I would do some work on myself and definitely do some healing, but it could only go so far when the alcohol addiction was present. So that's where I'm at today, 1 year in. It's just been a wild and amazing journey. It totally changed my life. I feel like it's given me a second chance at life. And I hear that from people a lot. It's like this real opportunity. If you really want it, it's there for you. It works for 80% or so of people who go on the medication and follow the Sinclair Method. I just feel like if you have any reservations about trying this or you're afraid it's not going to work, from my experience, all I can say is try it. It's changed my life in ways that I just would have never imagined. And by kind of getting this clean slate, this fresh start of myself that doesn't involve an alcohol addiction, it's almost like I feel like this opportunity to be alive right now and to embark on a personal journey of healing and well-being and understanding what my purpose is here in life. It feels like a more rich and juicy gift, because that opportunity was almost lost with the alcohol addiction. If I wouldn't have discovered Claudia's video and gotten on this method, like, I don't know where I would be today. And that makes me really sad, like thinking of that possibility. So I'm just so grateful and so happy to have built this community and interacted with so many of you who are also in this place of suffering from alcohol and looking for an answer and salvation. And for me, I really believe that in order for the collective humanity to elevate and change and get away from hate and war and destruction and all of these things that we see happening, we have to elevate our consciousness. And when alcohol is a substance that we use on a regular basis and we abuse it, it keeps our consciousness low and our vibration low and our energy and our drive and our desire and our will to live, it's like not there. And you can't grow and get anywhere if that's your level of existence. And that's what I feel for me personally. From where I was a year ago to where I am now, I was just very stagnant for 10 years. And now I feel like I finally have the clarity and the energy and the well-being and the health um, to really develop and go deeper and elevate my consciousness, understand why I'm here in this life, really show my gifts and do what I'm here to do. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you in some way, and we will talk again soon. Bye.